Hi, everyone. Welcome to Innovation Obsessed, coming to you from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. This Sunday, the Eagles and Chiefs face off in a Super Bowl rematch. And just like in football, the best security is built on strategy, defense, and staying ahead of the game. Today, we're diving into what security teams can learn from championship defenses. Because whether you're protecting a stadium or another facility, the right game plan makes all the difference. Joining me are Matt Plantier and Nate Snyder, two of Oosto's best and proud Eagles fans. Matt, Nate, how are we feeling going into Sunday?
I feel good. It could go either way. They've both got really good defenses. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But we have Saquon Barkley, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, very excited. The goal is always to make it to the Super Bowl and win it. So making it again and a chance to redeem the loss is a great opportunity, and hopefully they take full advantage.
Awesome. Let's get started. Okay, so every season, teams face new challenges, new offenses, new strategies. Security is the same way. Let's evolve. Security teams need to stay ahead of the game. So from your perspective, what security challenges aren't getting enough attention right now?
I think a lot of the time security is focused on lean entrances. People are coming in and out, and then forgetting things like corridors, parking lots, softer targets where there's less security, less cam, because everyone's so concerned on the game. So having extra surveillance, extra layers of security in those areas help deter threats, help reduce crime, that's vandalism.
Excellent points, Matt. What I would say is, just like in football, there's layers to your defense. You often think about the D-line, the big imposing guys, the heavy machinery. But where I think you can get a lot of protection is from covering all three layers well. And one of the things the Eagles didn't do well last year was their secondary let them down. And that was a weakness which they addressed this year. And I think for a lot of the security teams today, they can look at moving their coverage further out. So that can be parking lots, that can be covering more square footage with tools that bring advanced capabilities to your team and give you more data about what's happening further away from your event itself, where a lot of that attention is. So I think that's an area teams are looking to address and improve.
Yeah, great point. So in football, as you just mentioned, the best defenses don't just react, they anticipate. A great defensive line stops the play before it even starts. Security is no different. Whether it's a stadium, hospital, casino, corporate headquarters, what are the biggest mistakes you see organizations make when it comes to stopping threats before they escalate?
I would say not being proactive, being more reactive to the situation, going back, doing investigations. We are in the business of like a linebacker diagnosing a play. We're looking out for different signs, behavioral clues, and sometimes just known threats that we already know parts, put them in the database, and that linebacker then can go blow up that play, just like we want to deter a threat. So just being proactive and less reactive.
Yeah, I agree with that, Matt. And one of the things I would add is teams are looking for ways to get data, not just in your high visibility, high traffic areas, but across all of the spaces they're responsible for. So that's, inside the bowl where the, main event is taking place, but that's in the areas where people congregate, concourses, your choke points, your entry and exit ways. And, one of the real dangers that I think gets sometimes overlooked is, threats from when there is overcrowding or people are reacting to a real threat or a perceived threat. When people are compressed, when they start acting out of fear, that's where you have things like, that are actually dangerous, like a crush, or, you actually have some older stadiums where there have been collapses of railings and people falling. So it's not just the threat of the bad actor, but when the crowd gets a little out of control, what can that lead to? Keeping people calm, having good communication, and making sure your team is prepared and following your security measures is what's going to help you prevent things like that.
Great quarterbacks don't just focus on the one receiver. They scan the whole field, read the defense, and make fast decisions. Security teams need that same situational awareness. So how does AI help security leaders read the field before the play happens? Let's start with you, Nate.
Yeah. So here's where, the personal element of the team is really strong, and where AI can complement all the things that security teams already do well, such as knowing your space, knowing your threats, knowing what bad actors might try to show up and cause harm. And when you have that information before, you're not just anticipating, but in the moment when that threat occurs, you're able to react and respond faster and get fans, safely to the spaces they should be in, and make sure people aren't harmed. That's the main thing. So really it's about giving your team the chance to respond early and not reactive, like Matt mentioned. That's what makes the biggest difference.
Yeah. The quarterback question reminds me of a comment from Mike Matranga, who's used Oosto for high school, as you know. And in this story, he talks about how when he detected the expelled student who was possibly coming to cause crisis, the first thing the student said was, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I think when I'm watching Mahomes, Hurts, Saquon out there. She's like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, Uso kind of gives you that increased capability to make those wow plays.
Love it. So technology, AI, facial recognition, automation has transformed security as we know. But at its core, security is still all about the people. What's the human factor in security that technology can't replace? Let's start with you, Nate.
Yeah, that's an important question. There's, I think, a little too much fear into technology when it comes to teams not wanting to lose their people, and that's valid. And the way that our customers and our prospects are viewing this and looking to utilize it is really as a force multiplier onto their existing team. The characteristics of great security people that really AI can't replace is their instincts, their awareness of the overall situation, and really being able to interpret context. AI is going to give you the data. They're going to tell you what's happening, maybe before a person could recognize it, but you need that person to go in and intervene and confirm what the AI is seeing. And then also, security is always something people look for when they have a concern, when they have a problem. When somebody, sees something, say something, you're not going to say something to a camera. You're going to say something to a security person. So they are that layer that people go to and trust, which is always going to be needed.
Definitely. Anything to add, Matt?
Yeah, we're a tool, and at the end of the day, we need good detective work, we need good security work, and that human element is so crucial. Talking with schools, right, they have security guards who are seeing these students each and every day, know their families, know kids well, and if they detect something's a little off, that gives them a little bit more information to go investigate, have a conversation with that student, and maybe deter something that could have been way worse.
Definitely. Great point. So, okay, let's talk playbook. So no team wins the Super Bowl with just a great quarterback or just a great defensive. They win by executing a complete game plan. How does that translate to security?
Having all the data. So studying in the film room, we give you all that data, what would be weeks of collecting and studying. We give that real time, immediate for investigations, tracking, all the info. If a football team could use this, they'd be in Super Bowl already.
And what I would say is, when you watch a game, when you see a team executing at their best, what you don't see is all the preparation that went into it. And I think security teams are similar in that, they do a lot to try and assess, what risks are there, what do we need to do differently, how do we adapt to changing threat levels, and having the ability to go out and actually prevent things means you're looking back at where have our weaknesses been in the past, how do we address them, and then also how do we make sure we're responding quicker to actually be able to disrupt those threats before they actually cause harm. So I think it's the preparation that allows you to execute at a high level, and then being able to go out and not just anticipate, but actually de-escalate and prevent things from occurring.
Yep, great point. So Nate, Oosto has played a major role in securing past Super Bowls and works with NFL teams year-round. Can you share some examples of how our technology is used to protect players, staff, and fans?
Really good question. The Super Bowl, the bigger the event, the more people are going to take aim and want to disrupt. So, your terrorists, your people who really want to make a statement for whatever reason, are going to look to take advantage of those opportunities when more eyes are on the event. So what Oosto does is we help on those big events where you have, a higher threat level to be able to stop the known terrorists, the known people who might show up and try to cause problems. But then it also is able to secure individuals. This year we're seeing professional athletes be, having their homes taken advantage of, their personal property be stolen. And you have, people coming from across not just the country, but the globe. So you want to secure not just your main entrance points, but also places where you can have employee access to make sure former disgruntled employees don't try to come in, or people don't try to mimic a security guard or mimic team personnel to try to find any weakness to gain access to those events. So having a tool that you can deploy in addition to your existing measures like Oosto is going to give your team the ability to cover more with less and be able to respond to just the highest and most important threats with your necessary resources.
Nate touched on this, but game day security is high stakes. But protecting teams and facilities is a year-round challenge. How does security strategy change between game day and the rest of the season?
Yeah, so obviously these major venues are going to be doing stadium or going to be doing events all year round. We have a Battle of the Bands out here that's being set up for later this week, it looks like. So what we can do is add different members into a database and rotate them depending on the time of the season. We can rotate licensing on the cameras. We can add different groupings for different individuals. Nate touched on ex-employees. Hard Rock Stadium had dressed up as a security guard to get into a Taylor Swift concert. So we're seeing this happen all over the nation. It's probably only going to increase, and having that additional information year round really helps secure the facility.
So every Super Bowl has an MVP. Last year it was Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully not again this year for you guys. But then security, what's the most underrated tool that should get MVP status in your opinion?
Real-time alerting.
Real-time alerting?
I'll go back to something I touched on earlier. I will say cloud control and communication.
Love it. Okay, so final question, Eagles or Chiefs this weekend?
Oh, Eagles.
Eagles. No doubt.
31-27.
Decisive victory.
Let's get the numbers out there. 31-27. What's your prediction?
My prediction, I'm going to go 35-26.
35-26. Okay, so everyone tuning in, throw your predictions in the comments. We're excited to see them. Thanks for joining and stay innovation obsessed.